I want to talk about Trump. The reason is, we all come at Trump because he's not an unknown. President Trump has been a figure in American public life since the 80s, back when he was a young man. You know, he's been around, so we all have this vision of him as a real estate person, a casino owner, developer, a big shot billionaire, all of these things. And now we mix in President of the United States. Right, so there's a lot of potential scenarios around this guy that we all have different beliefs about. And so this weekend was it got tested. Right? Our mettle was tested. Our mental mettle was tested over who this Trump guy is, what's going on. Now, when he got elected last year, I thought, well, the son of a bitch is going to be a prime assassination target, and I still think he is. And when he did last spring, when he bombed the Syrian runway, I thought, this guy's a fucking loose cannon. Right? He's off his rocker. What's he up to? Didn't know anything about his politics, you know, beyond what he said in his speeches. And it caught me off guard. I remember going, oh shit, this guy's going to start World War III. What the fuck is he thinking? Right? And so this year, we get around to Syria again. I'm like, okay, I've seen enough of him now. I have my belief systems about him. And I have a lot of faith in what I believe. At the same time, I have been burned enough in my life. Burned enough that I don't put all my eggs, whether they're emotional, spiritual, psychological, or my huevos, I don't put them all in one basket. Right? I hedge my bet and I try and think about stuff. Okay, sorry about that. I don't have enough voice to compete with the heater. And the board's moving because I tried getting my magnetic pointer out, but it's a magnetic board and I started dragging it all over. Okay, so we've got different ways to look at Trump. So I want to talk about the potential Trump scenarios and how you and I can think about it from a prepping perspective, from a shit hits the fan scenario look. So let's talk about Trump. Let's just pretend that the guy is playing straight up, right? He is straight up with this. He is a tough guy. Well, in order for him to play straight up and a tough guy, he's got to be fucking stupid. Because I've talked about all the risk-reward scenarios. I talked about the hypocrisy of saying, how dare someone else use chemical weapons. And in fact, I ended up watching some videos on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And everything I talked about, from people being killed instantly to being sick for days, for being given cancer and having their lives ruined, their physical bodies ruined, the whole area being ruined, all of that. In fact, I underestimated everything. So you'd have to be stupid to be the straight-up tough guy. You know, and who hates this straight-up tough guy? I think the Democrats hate him. Right? They think, and I think the Democrats think Trump is a straight-up tough guy. Children, plug your ears, grab him by the pussy type of guy. Right? If that's what he is, right, that's going to lead to war with Russia. Right? So that's one way to think about Trump as a prepper. You know, I think what happened was when he said, we're going to bomb Syria, we're going to missile strike them, Alex Jones went off the deep end. Old AJ, he lost it. You know, for knowing about QAnon and actually having talked to Donald J. Trump before he became president, you know, he probably had a sense that he knew who Trump was. So I think what's going on is Trump is confused everybody. He's confusing them, keeping people off balance, right? So I thought right away, shit, he's gonna bomb these guys. He's playing it straight. He's a tough guy, and so I got on the horn to everyone. Hey, go warm up the trucks, right? And we'll see what happens, but warm them up. But I didn't jump to the gun as far as AJ did. But I thought, hey, this could do it. This could be it. Followed by lots of explicatives like fuck. Okay, so another potential Trump scenario is he is Russia's puppet. Right? This is what the Democrats have been saying all along. He's collusion with Russia. It's turned out that Hillary was in collusion with Russia on a great many things. And in fact, now it's come out, it's being dug up, that Hillary has a limited liability corporation at Shenzhou City, I think. It's a Chinese corporation that's one of her foundations. And it's being exposed some more. This is wonderful. But as far as Trump being Russia's puppet, all of America would hate that. Not just the Democrats, but Republicans, independents, Tea Parties, preppers. We would all hate to learn that Trump is Russia's puppet. That would really suck, right? That's selling out the USA. On the other hand, is that any worse than Hillary, who's selling us out to foreign corporations, to other nations to enrich herself? Right? But I've got the word why written right here. Why would Trump be Russia's puppet? If Hillary's already in bed with foreign corporations and foreign countries, why would they need to bring Trump into this conspiracy to screw us over? Right? It takes a lot of energy. It's exposing other people. It's exposing the corruption of the system, the political system, the financial system, the monetary system, the investment system. Everything is being exposed. So him being a puppet doesn't make, to me, a whole lot of sense. He's got his own money. Why would he waste up to 4 years of his time, maybe up to 8 years of his time, his life, right? The end of his life, the last part with his last child, son. Why would he spend that as president other than to wear maybe a Tarzan loincloth and swing from a rope in the Lincoln bedroom, screaming, "Melania, I'm coming for you. And I'm the president," right? Some ego thing. That's believable, but why do it? Why do it? So another potential scenario that Trump falls under is the QAnon way. Q being widely believed to be military intelligence, the QAnon way, which is to destroy the powers that be. Right? That's another potential Trump scenario. That's the one I hope for because it offers the best chance for us as human beings and as preppers to make it through the next 10 years alive. See, the straight up way is going to result in war, which could lead to nuclear war, invasion, certainly shit it's the fan of all flavors. Bad. Russia's puppet, we're going to be owned by another country. Revolutionary efforts, resistance efforts, civil war efforts, shit it's the fan, up and down. But the QAnon way is that Trump is working with the military and military intelligence and probably, and I bet they're keeping this quiet as well, private donors who are funding what is needed to be funded that can't otherwise be funded by the government. People that want to see the powers that be destroyed. Okay, so the QAnon way is the anti-establishment, anti-Illuminati, anti-fascist, Zionist, corporate, right? The worst stuff we can imagine coming from the private sector, literally, right? The United Nations takeover. It seems like the establishment is everything that we don't want as constitutional-minded, freedom-loving Americans. So in order for him to do that, you got to be ballsy. Trump ballsy, now that fits, but this way moves away from the concept of him being stupid. It requires him to be smart because he's got to avoid assassination and he's got to take down levels of corruption. Corruption in the monetary system, corruption in the military-industrial complex, intergovernmental corruption, which we're seeing, the FBI, the State Department. So he's not only got to be smart, but he's got to cooperate with other anti-powers that be nations and groups. Now, this is where we get into how do you do that? How do you juggle cooperating with other nations while remaining loyal to the Constitution and the people of the United States of America? Well, as it is now, we're supposed to believe that the straight-up Trump is cooperating with France and England in bombing Syria, and that he's a tough guy, right? And that he has our best interest at heart, which is why Alex Jones lost his cookie, right? He flipped it because he's like, that's it. We're all going to die in a nuclear war instantly, right? That's why he lost it. So we're going, well, you got to be smart and cooperate with other powers. Trump can't do all this alone. You can't. The whole world would be against him otherwise. So is it easier or harder to believe that the powers that be have more enemies around the world than just the American people and Donald Trump? Well, it's easier to believe that they have people around the world they've made enemies with. Because I know that people I've done business with have treated me well, and some have treated me very poorly. The ones that treat me poorly, I know they're bad. The ones that treated me well, I know they're good. I'll work with the good guys. We'll cooperate and get more done. Screw the bad guys. All right, so what else do we know about the QAnon way? There is risk in it. There is risk in it. But with Trump as a tough guy, the risk is out the window. We're going to a nuclear war. We're going to World War III. As Russia's puppet, yeah, we're sold out. The risk is just handed over. So this way, yeah, there's risk in every way. But if we're being smart about it, while having to be ballsy, you're going to do something, right? Revolutionary War is ballsy. Civil War is ballsy. Going down to City Hall and standing up and telling a council member that they couldn't find their own ass with their hands in their back pockets, that's ballsy. But we all have ballsy on different levels. I have to medicate the voice here. So the risk is scorched earth. And I've talked about that a number of times. If the powers that be are being beaten and destroyed, if they have the ability to cyber attack, if they have the ability to terror attack, if they have the ability to use nuclear ordnance, right? They can destroy things. They can really mess us up. That'd be the scorched earth in order to protect themselves and hide their guilt and their shame and their crimes. Scorched earth. That's what we risk. So the QAnon way requires an awful lot of power, intelligence, planning, execution, everything. Patience is another one. So, has Trump demonstrated those qualities? He's been patient. In the debates, he said, hey, if I was president, you're going to be arrested. Right? He came right out and said it. Now that he's president, he's like, well, we got to have our shit together, right? You don't take on the destructive elements of other nations because they probably have the same power or problem with power our government does, in that the United States government shares power with the powers that be. There's power sharing, the deep, dark state. Right? The president's the authority, but he's getting muscled and pushed around and cajoled, and other presidents take payoffs. Right? They've got a stake in the game. Trump doesn't want a stake in the game under the QAnon way. The sellout way, right, is bad. Right? But the QAnon way is something else. But even the QAnon way guarantees a system reset. What do I mean by a system reset? We're operating under a monetary system. that uses private banking debt instruments for payment. That is the Federal Reserve note. That would have to be abolished if we get rid of the powers that be. We're going to have to go back to constitutional lawful money. That's going to cause a serious system reset. Everything we own, everything we value, from the dirt to our automobiles, to our homes, to our companies, to the resources natural this country has, there's going to be a complete reset. From the federal government to the state government to counties and cities that are incorporated under the federal system. If we're going to get rid of the powers that be and return to a constitutional republic proper, the incorporated city of this and city of that are no longer going to be incorporated. They're going to have to exist de jure. They can't exist as a subcorporation of the state, which is a subcorporation of Washington, D.C., which is a centralized power system that collects money from the bottom and sends it to the top, and it sends dictates from the top to the bottom. We would be in charge of ourselves again, and the closer you get to the local level, the more power we would have over ourselves, while maintaining maximum freedom and protection, as enumerated, as written down, and understood in the Constitution. The big reset fear is, will we have the same Constitution? Will there be the same understanding that I have? Because I've read the Declaration of Independence. I've read the Constitution. I've read the Federalist Papers. I understand philosophy. I know the source of the thinking from which the Declaration came. And I've read Common Sense by Thomas Paine. I've read Thomas Jefferson's works. These men were not idiots. They were brilliant. The average person in this country is not like you and I. They're not preppers. They're not thinkers. They're not planners. They don't even understand the rules today, much less
they don't want to wake up.
The concepts under which this nation was founded, which was to provide every man the freedom that God gave him, and a system of government to help him cooperate with his fellow men and to be protected from foreign nations, where those protections never existed and where despots and tyrants rule. System reset, yes. Shit hits the fan light, more than likely, yes. All three cases, maybe there's other scenarios you can come up with for yourself. All three cases have shit hits the fan elements. All three cases, pain. The president's come out and said, hey, get ready for pain. There's going to be pain. I've been saying it for years. Get used to my corrosive language and the concepts that are going to come with thinking about shit hitting the fan, having to defend yourself to the death in some cases, having to fend for yourself. Think about food now for 6 months and carrying on after that, as long as needed.
You need survival food.
Right, so that's what we're guaranteed under the QAnon way. But we're guaranteed World War III here, and we're guaranteed revolution, civil war, takeover, totalitarianism, and destruction under the Russia's puppet way. Now, what if people concluded about Trump over last week's missile attacks in Syria? Well, the number one way, and we've all seen a lot of, is Trump is stupid. He's careless. He's reckless. He's all balls, no brains, right? Pissed off Alex Jones, and I mentioned that already. So I don't know what system Alex Jones thought he was in. Well, if you thought and hoped he was straight up, well, he played it that way. If you thought he was a puppet, that's not good either. And if Alex Jones thought he was QAnon way, he seemed to have lost all of his faith like that. Now, what people concluded, Trump is stupid. The Democrats think that. They're pretty stupid. They're still going after him over having sex with a porn star. I hate to break the news, but Trump married basically a supermodel. And if you want, you can go on the internet, type in Melania Trump, 1995, naked, and you'll get naked pictures of Melania Trump. She was a hot babe. She's still a hot babe. She's just older. She's a mom. She's married to Trump. Trump has become quite a Christian guy. Now, is he a pious jackass? No, I don't think so. But he did bring back Merry Christmas. Yes, indeed. It is okay to say Merry Christmas. And if you know someone who's Jewish, you say Happy Hanukkah. If you know someone who's a Muslim and you like them and you don't
Sorry
think
about that.
there's a problem and you feel comfortable with them, you could wish them a happy Ramadan or someone who's whatever their holiday season is, Chinese New Year, it doesn't matter, right? Trump brought that back. So he's doing good things. He's not a perfect human, but none of us are. But the Democrats hate him, and they're trying to, pin stupid stuff on him. Mueller, his investigation. Now, everyone's confused by what he did. This is one of the main elements that I discovered after Friday's missile attack, is all of a sudden I had to reconsider all of this, right? It confused me even. I'm like, God, how can he be that stupid? He's not. Is he a sellout? It's possible. I mean, all of this is possible. Just because I have a way that I want to do it, because of my imagination and my vision of Trump, because we've known him since the 1980s, 1990s, the 2000s, and here we are in the teens, right? The guy's been in public life almost 4 decades, if not more, right? But, he's confused everyone. I went to, like I said, top alert. Everyone, make sure you got the keys, make sure the truck's warm, make sure everything's good. Let's see what happens in the next 6 hours. Nothing happened. Okay. We can come down off of red alert. Now we can start thinking what's going on, right? So what people concluded, what else? Well, some people have Q fever. The QAnon thing. They have Q fever. They're so hot for that, they can't believe anything else, right? So I heard this one fella today. He said, a lot of fellow Q people, they were quitters. You're A, a blind follower, or B, a quitter. And I thought, that's the either or logical fallacy. There's another option besides being a blind follower or a quitter. The guy went on to say, well, if you don't believe QAnon, you're not a patriot. And if I could have reached through YouTube and grabbed the guy and shaken a little sense into him, it would have been nice. Because this QAnon, you don't know who they are. They're anonymous. They have to remain anonymous, but they're leading people through this maze of horseshit, giving some really interesting clues that are hard to discount because of their association with facts that are happening. But whether or not they're really on our side 100%, it's hard to say. Could be this puppet thing, right? To say that I'm not a patriot because I haven't sold myself out to a concept that hasn't proven itself out is one thing. Now I can follow the Q and see if I can spy my way through it, through these spy games, this Tom Clancy maze and cornucopia of crazy clues, and wow, I can't believe that shit just happened. But I don't know if Q is leading us in the right direction or misleading us in his direction or their direction. So I'm not a blind follower, but I'm not a quitter after what happened Friday. But what I will tell you is I watch everything close and I judge it on its merit. And if things go wrong, right, what do? We're always prepared. That's the thing about being preppers and having a prepared mind is we're prepared for shit to follow this game. But I pick the phone and go, try this. Boy, so what people concluded over Fridays, whatever's going to happen, our tradition and our ways, that would have been it. Done. He's got to have teams of intelligence out there doing reset the system. It's got to be methodical as well. So, again, burned. And then they said no more third parties. The press did. And so Romney, another sellout. Or Barack Obama again. Don't even know where the fuck he was born. Yeah, let's have that guy for a president. Examine
this video so far, and